Check 1 2, check 1 2. Hey everyone, let me know if you can hear me okay. I'd appreciate that. Just before I get started, we're about to get started in just a moment. You want to go ahead and share this with any friends you got, that'd be cool. I'd appreciate that very much. And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the campaign, and we'll be talking about some of the principles that are kind of the basis for why I'm doing this whole mayoral campaign. First, though, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting over the last week, everybody who has been sharing, been putting the information out there. It's been very much appreciated. This is my first time trying to do something along these lines, and, well, I'm thankful that you guys are with me. I'll say that. I'm thankful that you guys are at my side because I have such support from people all over the country who follow my journalism, follow my activism. I also have people here right in the city of Houston who have followed my work in different ways and who are supportive of that. And I have people who are just getting to hear about who I am and what I do. So it's really been great just getting to connect to all kinds of different people. And it's just the first week. So I'm hoping that this will continue. I'm going to go ahead, though, and just give just another moment before we really get into it. If you guys want to share anything, this would be the time. Share it with your friends. Share it on your pages, your groups you're involved in. If you got people who care about 5G, care about cannabis, care about not being forced to medicate one way or the other, if you've got people who care about surveillance, if you have individuals who care about the homeless population or who are interested in urban gardening, community farming, things of this sort, if you've got individuals who are concerned with no-knock raids and police violence, then invite them to this as well. So, all right. I wanted to say that in the last week, it's been, as I said just a moment ago, been very busy already. I mean, I'm very excited for what's taking place. I guess let me give you a recap. Last Friday, I did the very first Townhall live stream. For those who haven't seen that one, I invite you to go back to that because I don't want to recap too much information, but I did an hour long. We probably won't do an hour today. I did an hour long going over all the different issues that I am focused on. There's 9 different issues that are listed on derrickbroze.com and answering your questions. So we'll briefly run over those today, but last week we went into depth and I talked about my opinions and thoughts on that. But also if you go visit derrickbroze.com and you check out the mayor page, for those who might not have visited the website yet, I want to encourage you to do so. And you can find out more about what we're doing with this campaign. But we talked about that last week. I talked about all the issues and took the questions. And so since that time, I found out that I will be involved in 2, maybe 3 debates in the coming fall. I'm going to be participating in a debate that's being organized by the Houston Pachyderm Club in the fall, and then also going to be doing some debates at University of Houston downtown and University of Houston in general. And University of Houston. And I'm also looking to work with student groups. So those were some developments in the past week. We had the live stream on Friday. We had some acceptance into debates by the Houston Pachyderm Club and by the University of Houston and the University of Houston downtown. Those are not till the fall because they're waiting till early voting and just going to put that off until then. So in the meantime, that gives me, this is almost the end of May right now. We're about to hit summer. School's already out all over Houston. And that gives me 3 months of summer before school comes back in the fall as far as the college campuses go. And in that time, I can spread the message far and wide. There probably won't be much activity on the campuses, or at least not as much as usual. But I am still trying to reach out to any student groups who want to connect and partner together in different ways. And whether that means hosting an event on your campus, if you're concerned about issues related to, let's just take a look, cannabis, surveillance, civil liberties, free speech, just government staying out of your life, talking about community gardens or farming, 5G, talking about no-knock raids and police violence, and talking about amending the city charter to take away the mayor's power, ending the drug war in Houston by decriminalizing cannabis completely, going all the way, and also welcoming cannabis businesses into the city. So ending surveillance, overturning the homeless feeding ordinance. If you're involved in any of these issues or want to get involved, and you are on a college campus or have kids or friends or whatever, connect with me. Please go over to the contact page or just email Derrick Broze for mayor@protonmail.com. There's also a form you can fill out over here on the contact page if you want to sign up to volunteer, or just contact me in general. But definitely we're looking for volunteers and people to help promote. We also got our YouTube channel, of course, the Facebook page that you're watching this through, and our Minds page. We are on Minds.com. If you've never heard of Minds, check it out. It's a decentralized social media platform. And that's a whole other issue of why we got to get away from these companies that are spying on us, and what we can do about that locally. So we're going to be on debates. We're looking for volunteers who want to help us get on college campuses. We're looking for volunteers who want us to speak to your community group, your neighborhood group, anybody who's affected by any issue here in the city of Houston. And of course, I'm not here to promise that I can fix everything. That's what a politician does. And I'm not a politician. I've never been a politician, and I don't plan on being a politician. I'm not even quite sure that I could win this race because I'm going against a career politician and a self-funded millionaire and another politician, right? So, I mean, there's other candidates, but those are the three main ones. And I've had people say to me, though, but Derrick, what will you do if you win? Obviously, I'm running this like I'm going to win because I want to spread the message and the ideas, and I want to reach you guys and talk to you and get to know you. But what would I do if I win? That's kind of a scary thought. But at the same time, it's exciting to imagine the change that could take place if somebody, even just somebody other than me, somebody outside of that establishment that happens even in the city level. A lot of people are aware that there is corruption that takes place in the federal government. You think of like Donald Trump's administration, the Obama administration, or the FBI and the CIA, or maybe even in big corporations like Monsanto and the oil companies. People, they can see that and they can feel that. But I have found that people are less inclined to understand that takes place here on the local level too. Right now, downtown, just about 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now, in City Hall, there are things going on. Every week they have a meeting on a Tuesday, have a meeting on a Wednesday. They're going over budget. Taxpayer dollars is being used for all kinds of different things, and most people pay no attention to it. They have no idea what's going on and where that money's going. And I've realized that as an activist and as a journalist and somebody who's gone to city council quite a bit. And so I want to just, I guess, give you guys an opportunity to understand what's really going on behind the scenes and to get involved in different ways. And as it says on the website, not to wait till November. This isn't about just voting in some city mayoral election and thinking that, well, Derrick Broze will fix everything. No, I want to encourage each of you to get involved in whatever ways work for you and your community, and start getting active and start taking action in different ways. And this is, again, part of the philosophy. That's what we're going to focus on today, is the philosophies that I care about. And so we'll get into that and why I promote non-violent, non-political action, apolitical action in different ways. But why it's important, I think, in this time to use the local level of politics to make a message heard. So if you want to help out, again, just email me. You can be involved in any kind of way. The biggest thing I would like from you guys, if you can't help out on the college campuses, and if you haven't been able to share this video for one reason or the other, or if you're watching it, whether you're watching it live or later, please do share it. If you want to help in another way, please, if you are in the city of Houston, come out Sunday, bring some friends, bring friends or family, whoever, and come to our event Sunday at 2 p.m. at Midtown Bar and Grill in Montrose. It's off West Gray. We'll be there from 2 to 4 p.m. So just a 2-hour event. I'm going to give a talk about all this stuff. We're going to go much more in detail, and I'll tell you guys my vision and kind of plan for the campaign and how I need help. And then I'll take questions from people, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm doing this because I believe in these ideas, but I'm not going to try to sell myself to people. I'm just going to be who I am. And if that works and the ideas I care about are important to enough people in Houston, then this campaign, this idea, this movement will grow. And if not, then it won't. And that's fine too. But I'm going to do what I can to spread awareness about these ideas. So come out Sunday afternoon, Midtown Bar and Grill. If you're on Facebook, look at the events, invite some friends, go get that invite list up. We got a couple of days left, and I'm looking forward to that very much. On the other front, I am going to be appearing on local conservative talk show host Michael Berry's show. He has an AM radio show, I think Monday through Friday. Sometime next week. We were supposed to do it this past week. It didn't work out. We've been waiting to reschedule that, so that will be happening next week, and you'll see me post some memes or some graphics about that. And if you want to tune in, listen to that, call in, let them know whether you support what I'm doing or if you have questions for me on air, let's do that. And then, of course, I'll post that online to Facebook and to YouTube and elsewhere. The final thing, as far as what's happened in the last week in the campaign, I released my first campaign ad video, and I hate to even think of it in those terms, but I mean, legally, it's a political advertisement. It's a 2.5 minute ad that we put out, little video. about 5G, and it's specific to Houston. If you don't know anything about 5G, whether you live in Houston or not, it's informative. It'll tell you what's going on in the situation, what are the concerns, the privacy concerns, the health concerns, and the local control being taken away by the federal government concerns. You can watch that short video, and it also shows you how Mayor Turner and Tony Busby, the other candidate, both support 5G, and that I'm the only person that's even talking about that and trying to raise awareness about that. So if you or your family are concerned about 5G, about EMF, or just about that whole situation, the privacy aspect, surveillance aspect of 5G and the Internet of Things in general, and the fact that it's a kind of federal takeover of local control, if those things are concerned to you, then please share that video, share them with the people you think might enjoy it. All right, so I think I've covered everything that's taken place over the last week, and let's get right into it. I want to talk about ideas now. Talk about ideas, principles, and the things that I care about, all right? The reason that I chose to run and do this, this experiment, I guess you could say, this experiment of mine and trying to reach people and raise awareness and spread information, is because I think that there are some important principles that need to be spread further. And I often have felt that politics and principles do not work together, because when you start getting involved in politics, there are compromises that you have to make, and small compromises and different things. And I'm already having to make some compromises that maybe I was previously against. Like, I don't think voting is the most effective way to express ourselves. I also think it's wrong to force people to go along with the vote of other people. And because of that, I've never voted. I have not even registered to vote, but I have to register to vote in order to be an official candidate. So that's something I'm going to have to do. And I accept that for the moment, because to me, it's worth it. I'm willing to compromise myself, I guess, in my eyes. Some of you might not see it that way, but I'm compromising myself in a way so that I can spread this message and spread these ideas. And so that's where my mind has been, is that maybe you can't really be a principled person while you get into politics. And I think the larger the government institution you're involved in, that's probably more true. But I'm focused on local. What can I do here in Houston? What can I do to help spread ideas in the city that I live and help more people start seeking solutions in their own community in a decentralized local way that is not dependent on the federal government, the state government, the local government, the corporations around us, where we create actual independent power and wealth in our communities by decentralizing and localizing and unplugging from these systems of government and these systems of corporate power. Now, that might sound extreme, but I think it's not as extreme as you might think when you hear that. And in fact, that you probably will feel and agree with me on the issues I'm talking about once you understand the philosophy behind it. Maybe it'll make it even more sense to you, right? So the main principle that everything else I'm going to discuss springs from, and there's three main things I'm going to talk about today, and then if there's any questions, I'll take that. So the main principle is what I would consider the principle of self-ownership, that I think that each of you are free, powerful, beautiful people, and you are capable of ruling your own life and organizing your own affairs with or without cops, government, corporations, authority figures, principals, priests, moms, dads telling you what to do. Maybe some of us struggle at it here and there, but I think overall we are all capable of organizing our own affairs and leading our lives, because we're amazing, we are beautiful, and we are free. So I think that because of that, I understand because of that principle, that I give you the right to self-ownership, and I grant and respect your right to self-ownership, and I hope that you do the same thing for me, right? So what this means is you own yourself and the products of your time, your energy. And so it is wrong for me or any other being to initiate force, violence, or coercion against you, against your right to be yourself, to be free. So when that means you're free to date how you want, to live how you want, to eat how you want, to smoke what you want, to drink what you want, etc., as long as you are not initiating force, violence, or coercion against me and my self-ownership, beautiful being over here. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like the golden rule that we've all been taught since we were young, but for some reason, the older we get, we forget about that. And when it comes to institutions of power, we especially forget it, and we end up using force and violence against each other. And I think that's a big problem. That's one of the problems that I'm trying to raise awareness about and get people to understand. So we each own ourselves. This would mean that I don't believe the government or any individual should tell you whether or not you can smoke cannabis, whether that means medicinally or recreationally. because you own yourself. And if you're not harming that other person, or you're not shoving something in their face, why is it that they have any say over what you do? They don't. So I will respect the right to self-ownership always. And again, that applies to cannabis. So you should be able to put what you want in your body. Otherwise, you're not free. If you can't alter your state of mind, then this doesn't mean I endorse all drug use or things of that sort. You guys out there who know my story, I'm a former drug addict, addicted to crystal meth. I went through Xanax. I went through MDMA and abused a lot of drugs, even substances that can help you kind of in medicinal ways and recreational ways. I abused them, and I was addicted to them, and I understand that. But I still think that the answer is not to lock people up in cages because they choose to use a substance that you don't like or the government doesn't like. The answer, I believe, is to try to talk to these individuals who actually have problems and issues and addictions and see what is the root of their suffering and why are they choosing to self-medicate or try to escape, or whatever method they're choosing to do when they use drugs. Because that's what I was doing. I was trying to escape by using drugs, and I actually had deeper issues, depression, and I had tried to kill myself, and the drugs were only making it worse. So rather than being thrown in a cage, I needed a space to work through those issues as best as I could. And I was able to gather my wits about me and do that while locked up, but that's not the case for everybody. And then it gets into the whole problem, the drug war and the failures of all that. But my point here is that, see, that issue of mine, the reason I'm for decriminalizing cannabis and welcoming cannabis businesses, because I believe in self-ownership. And I believe that if I was the mayor, I have no right, I have no right as a Derrick Broze, the individual, the journalist, the activist, the human being, to tell somebody else whether or not they can smoke weed. So why would you choosing to elect me as mayor change that? Why would I all of a sudden have that right to tell somebody that they can smoke weed if I don't have it right now? The answer is I don't. That means that the mayor of Houston does not have that right. That means that the president of the United States does not have that right. That means that your judgy uncle and aunt don't have the right. That means that all the people who look down on you for your choices don't have the right to use force or violence against you to change your mind. They can have debates with you. They can discuss with you. We can have dialogue, healthy dialogue. That's what's needed in today's age. There's so much censorship and shaming people with different opinions. We need more dialogue with each other. And so if we had that, then we could come to resolutions without violence. So I want to have a reduction in violence. And if we can do that via the election and spread that idea and get people to understand it, then that's what we're going to do. Let me give you another example of self-ownership. A little bit more controversial, I'm sure, and I've already kind of had some pushback with some friends who were like, I don't know if you want to lead with that issue, or, I don't know, I agree with you, but they have recognized that I'm consistent. And what I'm speaking of is the issue of mandatory vaccinations. Now, there is no attempt in the city of Houston that I know of to issue a mandatory vaccination order. However, you go to Brooklyn, New York, there has already been motions, executive orders, I don't know what they call them on the city level, but it was issued by Mayor Bill de Blasio, who said that there was a mandatory vaccination order where parents had to vaccinate their children within 48 hours, otherwise face fines. And the fines were $1,000 and then another $1,000. And, for me, when I look at this as a logical person, if they're going to fine you $1,000 and another $1,000, they're either just going to keep finding you for no reason and not expect to collect that. But what happens if you say, well, screw your fine, I'm not going to pay that? Eventually, my guess is the city, the mayor of New York, and the police would come to your house and try to take you away or take your kids away because you're not doing what the state says you should, because you're not medicating the way the state says you should. So that's a possibility. And this is why, as a mayoral candidate, and on the website, I say that I would never support any attempt to issue mandatory vaccination orders, and I would never support any attempt to remove exemptions for parents, personal, philosophical, religious, whatever, in the city of Houston. I've listened to and spoke with Dr. Peter Hotez. He is a professor and a doctor here at Baylor Medicine. Excuse me, he's not a professor, he's a doctor at Baylor Medicine here in Houston area. And he is out there, doing the circuit, telling people that, we should change the laws in Texas to get rid of exemptions and force people to be vaccinated, because Houston is a hub for anti-vax activity and Texas is a hub for these kind of things. So there are efforts to actually make this happen. So because I believe in self-ownership, because I believe in, yes, bodily autonomy, that means not only do I not have the right to tell you you can't smoke weed if you want to, or that I'm going to use violence against you because of that, I also don't have the right to force you to medicate one way or the other. Whether that means a vaccination, shoving a pill down your throat, chemotherapy, whatever. When in the American tradition has it ever been said, or just in the free liberty position, the kind of free history of human beings, has it ever been normal or accepted that the state should be allowed to just force you to be medicated in one way? The problem is we actually do have this in other areas. A lot of you out there are familiar with the problem or the issue of water fluoridation. Now, whether or not you embrace water fluoridation or not, that's not the point. This is an example of another forced medication. The government takes taxpayer money and uses that to put chemicals in the water that they say are better for your teeth or better for you. And whether you like it or not, it's going in the water, and you may not drink the tap water, but you absorb it through your skin when you shower. You're watering your plants with it, all these different things, right? So that's another forced medication that has been around for 50 years plus already, and people accept that. People think you're crazy if you question that. So we already have a society, and on the city level, we have that here in Houston. We already have a society that believes that we should be forced by the state or by some other external individual, some authority figure somewhere who was given this right by who knows who because of a vote. We already have individuals who believe in that. So I believe in self-ownership. That means I will not issue orders or even support. I will actively stand against and defend. If say I was the mayor, and let's say somebody tried to issue an executive order from the state level and said, we have an outbreak in Texas, we need all cities to force vaccinate their citizens within the next week or 48 hours or whatever. Who would carry out that order? As mayor, I could say, no, we're definitely not going to do that. And the mayor does have a role to play in the police and could ask the officers to stand down as well. And I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy situation, but I know that it's also a reality to some people just across the country. So while that may sound extreme to you, that's a decision that parents are already having to deal with right now. They're already having to deal with whether or not they want to leave the state. I've been contacted in the last week by parents who are here in Houston who said they left from another state because of the restrictions on their ability to exempt their kids from vaccinations, or they're worried about being forced vaccinated, and so they've come to the Houston area. So this is an issue that concerns some folks, and in the interest of me being consistent in what I believe, I will not support any violations of self-ownership or any attempts to coerce or use violence against the city of Houston, and on the individual level to the entire city. So that's why I'm against cannabis prohibition and for decriminalization. That's why I'm against mandatory vaccination and for individual choice, health choices, and discussion and dialogue. This is why I want the people of Houston to decide whether or not they want surveillance, because I think it's wrong to force such a thing on them without them having a say in it. Now, if all of a sudden everybody in Houston decides to vote and say they want surveillance, well, I'm getting out of here. But at least the people would have had a say. But that's not even the case, right? So I want to give you an opportunity to have your voice heard. That's why this whole campaign is about just amplifying the voices of Houstonians, because we want you guys to be able to feel like your voices are actually being heard. And in order for that to take place, we have to take steps. We have to take steps to recognize you as free, powerful, beautiful people. If the state won't recognize that, if the state chooses not to recognize you as an individual, as an empowered individual, well then, I don't know, I think that's a bigger problem that points to the bigger issue of what's going on here, is that we are not being respected as individuals, as powerful, beautiful people on the local level in our city. We're not being respected in that way. We're just being ignored. Your voices aren't being heard. If you go to city council, they won't listen to you about whether it's about no-knock raids, police violence, whether it's about the environment, whether it's about bike lanes, whether it's about potholes, whether it's about anything they don't want to hear. The firefighters, if it's not in their interest, they will not listen to you. That's what happened in the city hall. They won't listen to you. You will be ignored. You'll be pushed out like I have been in the past. So if you want to work with me, help me use my voice and this platform as a way to speak together with you, not for you, because I want to work together with you. So come together. Let's join me this Sunday at 2 p.m. if you can at Midtown Bar and Grill. Let's work together. Share the ideas you got. Share the concerns you have. I can't promise I can fix everything, and I don't want to. That's for each of us to do together and for you to do on your own, for our communities to come together. But I can listen to your concerns and I can say, you know what, that is a good issue. That is an important issue. I'm going to make sure when I'm in the debates that I talk about that. I'm going to make sure if I get interviewed for local news, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to make sure that when I make videos, I'm going to mention that. That's what I want to do. How can we spread this message? How can we, sort of community source this election and get all of the ideas that we care about and amplify them. Houston is the fourth biggest city in the country. Help me spread good ideas in this city. Help me get a message out that will empower people to recognize their own self-ownership and to recognize the importance of decentralizing from centralized institutions and from having more community gardens, having more community farms, having more systems that actually recognize the desires and the needs of our communities, as opposed to just a city council of 16 people that run and control everything and a mayor that acts like a dictator. We need an ability for our communities to be decentralized. I want to talk next week. We're going to talk more about what I'm calling community institutions, and CIs for short. These CIs are basically going to be alternative institutions that I think we could create and encourage on the local level over the next 5.5 months throughout the election, for people not to wait to November for me to try to get all the city lots turned into community gardens and urban farms and food forests. But why don't you start doing that now in your own community, in your backyard, growing your own gardens? You know what I mean? So we start creating these CIs, these community institutions that can get activated on these ideas already. We don't have to wait till November. So then come November, whether or not I get elected, these ideas already get put into action because you and me work together to make them happen. So the focus shouldn't be on the election and on the vote, and it's not even going to be on what the other guys are doing. If I have to show you a little bit of what they're doing to show you how I'll do different, I will. But other than that, I don't want to be focused on them, on the other candidates, and on the mayor. I'm going to go out there when I can as a journalist and ask them important questions. But I want this campaign to be about ideas and about empowering people and empowering myself and empowering you guys and coming together. And the people who don't like my message or don't like me or don't like the ideas we're spreading, that's fine. I hope that you will come out and you will talk to me and we will get to know each other and we can actually work together in some way, or we can agree to disagree. But I know that these ideas overall will improve the lives of all Houstonians if we start respecting each other's self-ownership and each person's right to be free of force, violence, and coercion, and we start looking at how to end the drug war in Houston, how to end surveillance, how to end no-knock raids, overturning the silly anti-food sharing ordinance, which says that you can't share food with more than 5 people at a time without permission from the property owner, and make sure that there's no vaccination orders, and make sure that free speech and civil liberties are protected, and also build community gardens and urban farms and food forests. Think about how much better the city would be just with that. And that doesn't even mean the government really has to do anything. We can just put a halt on things, slow down 5G, test it, figure out if that's what Houston wants, and actually amplify the voices of the people of the city so that you feel heard for once in your own community. That's why we go to the internet, is because we want to be heard, and we spend our lives feeling like we aren't being heard. And so we have to go online and connect to other people who might not even live in our city. That's why a lot of the folks who listen to my work and paying attention to what I do, they find me through the internet. They're not even necessarily in Houston. But if you are in Houston, and this is the first time you're connecting to my work over the last week or so, or in the coming weeks, then let's get connected. Let's work together. Email me at derrickbroze@protonmail.com. Contact the Facebook page. Follow us on YouTube and all that good stuff. We have an event on Sunday at 2 p.m. I really, again, want to remind you guys to invite friends via Facebook, share the event, and share it out with your family and friends. And I'll be there Sunday. And then I'll be back next week with some more information. I'm just going to keep posting information on this page. Every Wednesday, we're going to post a new video for the issues that we're focused on. Every Friday, we're going to do a live stream. And we're just going to do that Wednesday and Friday, new videos about the campaign. I'm going to start setting up more events once we get these volunteers going. We're going to have yard signs soon. We're going to get the information out there. And with your help, I think we can really change Houston, whether or not the election goes to me or not. And in fact, I don't want that to be the focus at all. So I think that's it for now, guys. Unless there are any questions, I'm going to get out of here and get to work on the rest of my day. More events once we get these volunteers going. We're going to have yard signs. Change Houston, whether or not the election, goes to me or All right, I think I'm just gonna leave it there. It looks like there's no questions for the day. I know it's like I have to wait a little bit of a delay there on the video. But if you want to check out what I'm doing, check out the website, derrickbroze.com. Come out Sunday and hang out, and let's get some stuff done here in Houston. Till next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.